believe in empowering people. I believe in delegation. I believe in empowering people. I'm gonna hold you accountable, but I believe empowering. So what I've been told is like you have all the authority and not all the responsibility, right? I'm giving you all the authority, but at the end of the day, you're not responsible for what happens. It's on me. But you empower them, they take and run that authority, especially junior troops and junior officers. You empower them, they're going to make it happen, right? Same in the civilian. Now, I empower those people that I work with that are regular civilians. Some of them have no military experience at all, and I empower them through instruction and having an open office. I always have had open hours. I was not ever that leader that said, um, you can't come see me. I was old school. You needed to bring your staff and CO and your sergeant to me, but um, I still allowed you to come in as you needed.
Welcome to the Nicholas Brown Podcast, a podcast talk show about real estate investing, business leadership, and personal development. Each week, we explore current real-life case studies about how to build financial independence through investing in real estate to build your personal portfolio through passive income models, along with interviews from the top business leaders and personal development leaders. Now, here's your host, Nicholas Brown.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I got another great episode. In this episode, by the time we play this, it's going to deal with the military military holidays at this time, because this is in November. So this is a special. This is going to be a special one here, and I'm honored to have this person here, and it'll explain why in a about section. In the military, when we say this saying on there, you work for a living, you'll see why. To get his position, you work for a living. Oh, okay, I see why. He gained his respect. So I respect this person here. And I'm honored to have him. So I'm going to read the About You section, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll begin. But before I begin the About You section, make sure you guys subscribe if you're looking on YouTube. Subscribe to this channel so you get more information such as this here. If you're working out, driving around, this is positive information. This is nugget of information. If you on your podcast, make sure you guys subscribe or however you do it, download this. Make sure you get an update on this type of information, because this is a leadership series. Here's an example here. So I'm going to read the About You section and we will begin. Today's guest is John King. And side note, I'm going to follow this guest. He's my guest. I'm going to follow his request. I'm going to read it verbatim as he asked. Okay, today's guest is John King, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and afternoon, everyone in podcast land. We have John King here with the U.S. From his quick bio, John was born in Texas, raised in Missouri, and carries hot sauce in his bag. John joined the Marine Corps, hoorah, in 1995 and retired in 2020 during the pandemic. He has been there, done that, with multiple T-shirts, shot glasses, and souvenir spoons. John is married to 4 girls and a dog. Occasionally takes long walks with the dog. John started 3 businesses this year, a federal consulting firm providing goods and services to the world's largest consumer, the federal government, a veteran-owned staffing firm for veterans, by veterans, and affiliate marketing firm. He is here and has 3 shots of espresso, which you see if you watch it on screen, and 4 Red Bulls, and is ready to give a dose of leadership reality. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, man, for reading it that way. Yeah, I'm here. I'm excited about being here and sharing my experiences, sharing, leadership, and just, encouraging people to like,
Yes,
there are plenty of things that tell you can't do it, but it's not things.
that's right.
It's literally up here that tells you can't do it,
In your
right? It
mind.
literally tells you can't do it. You got to change your mindset. You want to be successful. You want to do good things. You got to change your mindset. But please don't measure your success on like Elon Musk or Warren Buffett
That's right.
or Isaac Barnes, who's a great man who won a big contract out for in the DoD spaces. You got to set your success for you, right? Because if you try to do what your neighbor's doing, you're gonna fall short. You gotta be with inside of the gifts that are naturally given to you, not somebody else's gifts. And you gotta be comfortable with yourself in those gifts. So anyway,
Awesome. Awesome.
we
You
can
hear
get
that,
to it,
ladies
man.
and gentlemen? You hear that? You hear that? I hope you are motivated. I hope you endure. You're inspired about that. I haven't even got to it yet. So that's why I said I'm so excited to have this type of podcast and you guys is watching this. I'm excited to get to this. So that's the purpose of this about section though. But I got this person here, which I'm going to do because I'm a little bit old school. I'm going by sir because people don't know. Well, I want them to know on this. You're a retired officer. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So how do you go, sir? By John King? That's I'm going by manners. These young pups, they need to
Yeah,
know their manners. So
I go
what's comfortable for you, sir?
I go by John King unless I'm on base and I run into one of my old Marines and they'll be like,
Yeah.
sir, and I'll be like, no, get back, it's John. And then I'll be like, no, sir. And I'll
Right,
be
right,
like,
right.
okay, but you call me John. And they'd be like,
Right,
no, sir, I'm not gonna do it.
right.
Especially those who are retired, they still struggle, but like the ones who are retired to get out, they struggle a little bit. But the ones who are on active duty, because I'm still around the base,
Okay.
they will not.
Right,
they
right, right,
they
right.
will not call me John, and I understand that. That's fine, right? You know
Okay,
what I mean?
okay,
You you got to make the transition. I'm talking to one of my associates slash friend in the recruiting firm, and we were just chatting the other day ago, and he's been out for about a year. I said, "Hey,
okay.
have you finally made the transition?" He goes, "Yeah, I made the transition." And I said, "Yeah." He just gave me an example on what he was doing and how he plans to pivot. So for veterans that do listen to this, you got to make the transition in your head first. I keep a beard because I like keeping a beard because I'm out. Right,
Sure,
I can show you a
sure.
picture back here.
Yeah.
There's a picture of me right there. You see, I
Send me
got
a
a facial
picture.
hair.
I'll put it on the YouTube. Send me a
Okay.
picture of that. I'll edit that. Me
Yeah.
and Najee, my
Yeah.
partner Najee, he'll get it taken
Yeah.
care of for that. I love to
Oh,
show that.
I had a beard. I mean, I had a clean shaven for a long time, but um, part of the transition is you can't hide behind your rank or what you were in 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 the military or even government service. Like you retire as a GS-15, GS-14, SES. Guess what? Bank of America doesn't care,
That's right.
or Amazon doesn't care, or the small regional district logistics company doesn't care. They care about the experience and what you can do for that company as you come in. You know what I mean? So it's not, we are always going to do a little better than your peers. You're always going to do a little better.
Right.
As I was retiring back in 2019, I took a little temp job at the county dump, right? That just 2-week temp job. I took a job at the county dump, showed up, just kind of experimenting, seeing what was out there. Well, I showed up on time every day. I did my work. They literally offered me a job, but I was just working just in between. Like,
Okay.
nothing against their salary options, but it was like $8.25 an hour. I'm not knocking anybody making $8.25 an hour. I was
Sure.
encouraging a young man who was staying with his brother. He was from Alaska. He didn't have a job. I was encouraging him, hey, show up on time.
A
Ask them if
leadership
they
trait.
need something.
That's the purpose of this. Right.
Ask them if they need something. You can get the job. I told them in matter of factly, hey, I got an MBA and this is cool, but do you have any supervisory positions available? Then I may consider it. Right?
Right.
Is
Right.
is there is the director of the waste department available? That's the one I'll take. And they were like, oh no, that's not available.
Because
Okay.
at the time you were testing yourself, you went test the waters, but you
Yeah.
wanted to challenge yourself to go to another level on there. You want to try something that'll challenge your mind. I was thinking. I
Yeah.
was thinking too though, but you
Yeah.
wasn't afraid to take that risk, which that's a leadership skill, which I'm gonna back,
Yeah.
John,
Go
because
back.
we're
Go
gonna get
back,
back
back.
into it. Because we
Yeah.
get deep into this, because you made me
Yeah.
write down another question also, because
Okay.
that's deep.
Sure.
That's
Sorry.
another
Sorry.
episode. I gotta get
Yeah.
you on this. So
Yeah.
we get deep into this. We'll get deep in layers on this. And I appreciate your time. I see another episode. So tell us, we focus on three things. We motivate, teach, and get a perspective. So what motivates you? Because we're doing this for the leadership. This is a
Yeah.
leadership
Yeah.
series,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
But what motivates you to go to the Marines and where you're at now? Because can you tell them about you started at, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me say he works for a living. Marines, I don't know about the Army or whatever, they respect the officer that started out as a enlisted NCO first or whatever. Am I correct? So you was yeah.
There is a different bond
Right, right. At my
with my
times, I don't know
yeah
what it is in this time because I was in
yeah
89,
yeah.
93. So I understand.
There's a different bond between your Marines that they know your prior service, right? Like few times in my commands, I didn't tell anybody I was prior service until I wore my Charlies, and then they would
Mm,
see my good conduct ribbons and go,
wow. Right, right,
and then ask
right,
questions, right? How
right.
do you become an officer? What do you got to do? Those type of things. So there is a different bond between your enlisted Marines and the officers that haven't been in. That there are great officers, plain up simple Naval Academy, RLTC, straight off the street, right? But there's just a different bond that your Marines. If you're good Mustang, there are horrible Mustangs too, right? Just like there are
Sure.
horrible academy and college grad officers, there's also horrible Mustangs. So um, I just had a different bond with my Marines. I would say when I was a second lieutenant, I was still in the doer mode and not a signer mode.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
I
To
clashed with my
delegate.
staff and COs. Yeah, I clashed with my staff and COs, but we had to build trust with each other. I was like, we were about to deploy to Iraq, and I wanted to have everything because we were about to go to Iraq.
Sure.
And my
Right.
two gunnies were like, "Sir, if you don't let us do our jobs, we can't get
Mm.
this platoon section ready to go." I said, "All right, you keep me informed of everything you do, because otherwise I'm the one who has to answer the mail at the end of the day for it." So I trusted them. I'm still friends with those guys today, post retirement.
This is Dane Fuentes with Cumulus Media, and you guys are listening to the Nicholas Brown Podcast Show.
So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what motivates you to change to become an officer then? Because we're going through the motivation because basically you're an entrepreneur too, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we'll get to another episode.
yeah,
I just want
yeah,
to stick to this what you
yeah.
said before
So
because this is
I mean,
special.
what drew me into the Marine Corps in the beginning is like I think there was one. I had a cousin who was like a lance corporal or corporal when he got out, but I come from a very strong military family. Like my
Really?
grandfather fought in World War II, my uncle fought in Vietnam, my mom was a vet temporarily. I had an aunt that was medically discharged. My
Wow.
grandma's first husband, or one of her husbands, he was in the Army. So very
Wow.
patriotic family coming
Sure.
up. Like that was joining the military was like the separation, even though my mom did push me to go to college, but joining the military in that community where I grew up in rural Missouri was like this is the next level to get somewhere, right?
Sure.
So I was recruited out of Columbia, Missouri. I joined I joined the Marine Corps out of Columbia, Missouri, and I went and saw each recruiter. There was no Space Force back then. I don't even know if the Coast Guard was there, but I saw the main four, right? Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air
Sure.
Force. I talked to all of them. But what drew me the most to the Marine Corps was a challenge, right? The recruiters saw that I liked competition, saw that I was a challenging guy. Like I was like a triple athlete in high school, right? I ran cross
Really?
country, did track,
Okay.
football. I swam for like one season, but um,
Okay.
so
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 physical training, the tests and everything, that wasn't nothing. That was second nature to you.
yeah,
Doing the
I was
PFT and
I
all
was
that.
super close to running a 300 in boot camp, but
Really?
you can't yeah
Wow.
you can't train the same way as if I was out, right? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like you can't train the same way in boot camp as if you were out. Like because I can't run 6 miles
Right.
every
Right.
day in boot camp on
Right.
my
Right.
own pace.
Right.
I can't. I have to stay in a platoon, right?
Right.
And you know
You
they
could have done
eventually.
better though. You could have broke that if
So
you yeah, yeah.
I gained weight and so I lost speed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Gained weight, muscle. I wasn't used to that muscle. Right. I was like 155 pounds when I went to boot camp when I was 18 or 17 going on 18, and I gained 20 pounds of muscle. I was 775 pounds when I checked into my ROTC unit
Wow. Right.
in the fall. Right.
Right.
So um
Hollywood Marine, right?
yeah, I went to San Diego. I
Right.
went to
Me
San. I
too.
went to San Diego, MCRD, and I do remember the drill instructors. King, you gonna get me a 300? So I'm gonna do my best.
Right.
I had a high
I remember all
290
that.
something.
Did you get
I
in
had
the
a two,
dirt? Did you get in the dirt line?
Yeah,
Did you
I
get?
had a high 290 something, right? Like
Wow.
they wanted me to get a 300, but I
Yeah,
you know
that was second
they,
nature to
they
you.
they set me down and we talked like real men for a minute, and I said I can't train here like that, right? I can't train the way I need to. I had just come off of running track my senior year going into boot camp.
Okay.
I was an 800-meter guy.
Wow, you're endurance then. You can
Yeah,
endure then. That three, you were just kicking in on 3 miles then. That
yeah,
wasn't nothing. Yeah.
yeah,
Three
yeah.
miles. Wow.
I ran cross country my senior year too. So cross country, track. I don't remember if I did any winter sports, but I did do track. I mean, I did do cross country and track prior to going to boot camp. I never crossed the 300 barrier on active duty. I got close. I ran a few 299s. I just got like 1802s, 1801s, right?
Sweet.
Just couldn't get to that.
Okay.
Just couldn't get to that 18, under 18.
Was you good on the weapons? I was expert on
Yeah,
both.
I had several multiple expert badges. That's when I became an officer. When I was enlisted, I was still using my old Missouri, Kentucky windage, right? I had to relearn myself as an officer, right? So,
Right. Right.
better I was a better shooter once I became an officer because then I had to instruct people on how to shoot. So back to the original,
Okay. Go ahead.
the
Yeah.
Army tried to throw like money and education and not necessarily the skills, right? And
Sure.
so the Marine Corps recruiter, he more tapped into like what I was interested in and impacts in the world and the community. So and that's how I ended up in the Marine Corps. And similar to what I am an entrepreneur right now is like, I remember being in boot camp and they were like, man, I'm only gonna do like 4 years. I was like, no, this is what I'm gonna do for a long time. And even I didn't really even know it, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this for a long time. And
Right.
lo and behold, 25 total years of reserve and active duty.
Awesome. That's
I
awesome.
retired. It's like 24 months and it's 24 years and 9 months, but who's counting those last 3 or 4?
Well, that's a question too for leadership, which I'm gonna get right into it. So, because everyone has different traits. So here's the first question: what's your definition of leadership?
As we had just talked, I'm an ENTJ, so I'm a commander. So
Okay.
I'm boisterous, I'm loud, and I expect the similar personalities out of my people. But you can be a quiet leader, um, you can be a loud leader. But I'm gonna look for examples, right? I'm gonna look for examples to empower people in my organizations. Example, when I went to Norway, I had a corporal and a lance corporal that were in charge of the entire embarkation plan for the MEF. That was it. It was, but they wouldn't give me the warrant officer from the big to do the embarkation. They made me responsible for all the embarkation plan. So I had a corporal and a lance corporal, and I said, "You all have the authority of this captain to go make it happen. If somebody gets in your way, come tell me, and I'm going to go correct them," which I did. But I didn't have a staff NCO to lead my embarkation because I didn't have a staff NCO to lead my embarkation.
Sure.
My unit didn't give me one, and they didn't give me the chief warrant officer, one or two at the time, from the senior unit to lead my embarkation plan. So I had a corporal and a lance corporal, and I had the MEF staff. For all your audience, a MEF staff is a 3-star level staff with assistant chief of staffs that are full colonels and master gunnery sergeants as their chiefs. So the politics that I had to play just to move the MEF staff and the associated MEB staff 2-star command, so a 3-star command and then another 2-star command to Norway, plus all the adjacent commands, was a lot of work. So I
Wow.
empower people. I had an old staff NCO back in the day in Hawaii. I was like, I don't like the word empowerment. It didn't make sense to me, but I believe in empowering people. I believe in delegation. I believe in empowering people. I'm going to hold you accountable, but I believe empowering. So in
So
leadership,
leadership is about empowering people and holding them accountable. What's the short
it's
version?
yeah, yeah. I would say it's about lead. It's an empowering them and holding them accountable for
Okay.
for for that, right? Do you have what I've been told is like you have all the authority and not all the responsibility, right? I'm giving you all the authority, but at the end of the day, you're not responsible for what happens. It's on me. But you empower them, they take and run that authority, especially junior troops and junior officers. You empower them, they're going to make it happen, right? Same in the civilian world as I've been the acting PM slash interim PM at my normal 9 to 5 with Aero Alliance, working
What's
for headquarters.
PMs for the listeners?
Oh, project manager. I'm a project manager
Okay.
or interim project manager for Headquarters Marine Corps installation and logistics. So we manage all their logistics portfolio, IT systems, all the logistics systems. We have about 45 logistics systems that we manage through governance and architecture and budget and just a various bunch of things. Now, I empower those people that I work with that are regular civilians. Some of them have
Mm,
no military experience at all, and I empower them through instruction and having an open office. I always have had open hours. I was
mm,
not ever that leader that said, um, "You can't come see me." I was old school. You needed to bring your staff and CO and your sergeant to me, but um, I still allowed you to come in as you needed. Your staff and CO and your officer need to know about it. Now, if it's like one of those more personal things or like an EO related thing, okay, come see me and we'll take the right path, right? You know what I mean? But normal work stuff, let's have a conversation with your staff and COs first.
This is Kobe Zinn from the FLA podcast, and you're listening to the Nicholas Brown Podcast Show.
So that's a question too. Whether you're in the military or right now, you have several businesses, whatever, which you have a staff now. So I'm keep hearing the word, which I interviewed a few people. You have the word culture. Are you
Yeah,
familiar with that? So
yeah.
what's your culture? What's the type of culture? Seems like you
So
have an
my
open
my
door
culture is
policy. Come
my
talk to me,
culture is
but
very yeah, my culture is a very open door policy, right? Like I said,
sure, that's
in my
good.
regular PM job, I have civilians that don't know the military very well. So I'll assign them a task. They may not understand. Hey, are you free? Let's get on a web call. Let's get on a Zoom, let's get on a quick Teams call. Let me walk you through what I'm talking about. If you have any further questions, let me know. So I'm very hands-on approach with my leadership. Like I'm going to be hands-on with you. I'm hands on from a distance, right? If we were all in an office together, I'd pull you aside and we would have a conversation on what my expectations are. You know, I am a hands on need type of person or via phone or chat or something like that. I don't need to write a book. I don't like writing books. I don't like writing SOPs and books and policies. Yes, all those things are important. I'm going to assign people that really love to do that,
Right.
those policies. But I'm just going to talk to you and we'll write it down and it might be an outline and I'll put it together and we're going to talk about it. But I'm going to be more talk to you directly because it's not a conflict management, a conflict resolution, or afraid of conflict. We need to have this conversation
So we
and
can progress.
so we can progress,
Yeah,
right?
right,
Like
right, right,
I'm
right,
gonna
right.
call you. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna set up a meeting. Um, in my civilian capacity that I have been in the Marine Corps, we were in meetings. So I could just call a meeting anytime I wanted, right? To
Yeah.
to
But don't
to
you agree it's a purpose? Because time is valuable to me.
yeah,
For me,
yeah,
time is
yeah,
valuable,
yeah.
you know.
My
And I always
all
say,
my meetings have a purpose. It wasn't just me talking to hear myself.
yeah, sure,
Talk,
sure.
I would talk, but then I'm gonna allow even in my civilian meetings, uh, I I allow everyone to have their point of view, whatever they need. Hey, what do you need to talk about? What do you need to do? So leadership, transition, military folks, military spouses, family members, the same skills that you learn to, as your coping mechanisms, as your strengths, all those things you learn in the military translate over in the civilian world.
Right.
Stop saying you just need a chance. Once you get your chance, you have your chance. Do what you got to do. If, like you said, that culture doesn't fit, hey, no harm, no foul.
Exactly.
Move on. It's okay. There's going to be toxic environments that you're going to be in. I'm not going to talk about my previous employer
Sure.
because they're a large firm, but I will
Sure.
say the environment that I set in toward the end before I left for about 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months was, yeah,
Right.
not the most ideal situation. And that was my first job out of the Marine Corps. So I went right back to the Marine Corps. Listen, for all of you veterans, family members, service members, dependents, whatever, you don't have to go back to that, but I'm the most comfortable here. And am I out of my comfort zone being an entrepreneur? Yes, but I am in it. Am I in my comfort zone in applying the same skills as I look for contracts? No, because I've done this before, but it's just in a different capacity. So, like in the beginning, I said, tap into your own superpower. I have no desire to sell makeup products. That's somebody else's job. I have no desire to sell cars. That's somebody else's job.
But you
I have no
could.
I
But
could.
you could if you
I
had
could
to, but
if
that's
I
not
had
your
to.
style. Yeah,
That's
right,
not my
right. Because you
style.
know how to adjust, as we said, adapt and overcome. You know,
You
so you're
adapt and
trying to go.
overcome.
Yeah, yeah. That's how my mind. Right,
I'm not a pharmaceutical rep, but
right,
somebody else is. I am
right,
not a I'm not a insurance sales rep. That's somebody else's job,
right.
right? There's a job. What I mean, and we're talking leadership and transition, but like what I mean is like there's a job out there for you. You don't have to be an airframes mechanic. You don't have to be an intelligence specialist. You don't have to be a motor T specialist. There are jobs out there for you. You just got to know who you are. It's a Marine Corps thing, right? JJ did tie buckle, know yourself, seek self improvement, all that leadership stuff.
Right, 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 right. Which I got to saying my team knows also. Be responsible as an individual, but work as a team.
Yeah,
So that's I definitely believe in that. If I
yeah,
give you this, I don't care what, like you said, you rank you a corp or whatever. Boom, we got this is a purpose on that. So I gotta
yeah,
trust you. You gotta be responsible for this, and you gotta be
yep.
adjustable. You gotta adjust. So I try to make stuff so simple. The KISS method, keep it simple system, not stupid, positive. Because I want you to go forward. We're here for a purpose. That's the thing. But we go. But I work hard, play hard.
Yep.
Don't you agree with that too? I take
You
care of
got
my
to
people. Yeah.
yeah, you work hard, play hard. I need to like get some play hard in here. I've been working hard. So,
Right, right, right. So, ladies and gentlemen, he taught you, he was teaching. Matter of fact, he gave you a tip on that. But that's the key. I want to go right back and we're going to cut the time. We got another 5 to 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to reach out for another time. We got to have another episode because this is deep. We got so many conversations I see now. Transitions for the military, for the people here that are looking at a transferring, whether you're in the Marine Corps, Coast, Navy, or whatever. What is your tip? What can you teach them on transitioning out of the military?
humble.
Or suggestion or be
Be
humble.
humble. Yeah, what was
Okay.
that? Kendrick Lamar, I think he said be humble.
Yeah,
Sit
yeah,
down. Okay.
yeah.
Be humble. Sit down. Listen, your rank leaves at the door. One of my mentors is a 3-star retired Marine Corps general. He
Mm,
runs his own consulting firm. He has been for a while. He set me down and he was like, "Hey John, you great skills. You know, you'd be an asset to anybody. But at the end of the day, they want to know the black and white. Can you provide? Can you solve their problems? So as you're getting out, network, network, network. But that
mhm,
means network. I don't mean write code and network and go into
mhm,
data systems. That means network with people around you, your parents, their
mhm.
friends, your local church, your local outreach, the national level, whatever. You got to network because there's a job out there that may fit you. You got to read the job descriptions all the way, but you got to be humble. It's okay if you take a step back. It's okay. It's not your permanent job. You got to
Right.
remember, all of you started out as second lieutenant, ensign, private.
That's right.
The civilian world is the exact same way. You just because you're a 3-star or sergeant major and you were at the command level, you're not necessarily going to go back to the equivalent level right away. You're going to take a couple steps down and you can make yourself way back up.
That's right.
I'm following a man right now on LinkedIn. I just try to connect with him. I don't want to mess up the ambassador's name.
It's okay.
But I just
Side
try to
note,
get,
get on
huh?
LinkedIn. That's a side
Yeah,
note.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah,
watching and listening,
yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah. Get on
Good
LinkedIn.
networking. Good networking.
Good,
Here's the
good.
example here.
Yeah,
With
I'm about to
Mr.
pull
John
the
King.
person
We're
up.
networking now.
I'm about to pull a person up. Let's try invitations. Okay, let's see. Sent. His name is Mr. Tim Davis. He's an
Awesome.
ambassador. He's ambassador Qatar. So, Mr. Davis, if you look at his bio in LinkedIn, was in the Marine Corps for 10 years.
Okay.
He's a lifetime State Department employee. He's a veteran, ladies and gentlemen. He stayed with the state his entire working adult career post the Marine Corps. He's the ambassador
Mm,
to Qatar. He's been in state his entire time once he left the Marine Corps. At least that's what it shows on his LinkedIn profile. He left the Marine Corps, left the military, and went to state. He's been in state 7, 8, 12, like 13, 14 years he's been in state, and he's an ambassador. So he's internal to the State Department. They promoted within. Read his bio. Tim Davis, veteran. Problem is, veterans and ladies and gentlemen, military, you all get very myopic. You believe that you can only do one thing. That's a perfect example of somebody doing something completely different outside of the military and is now a U.S. ambassador. That's huge, huge. He speaks when he speaks on behalf of the United States. The decisions he makes in Qatar affect the people in Qatar.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Thanks everyone for listening. You're listening to the Nicholas Brown Podcast. I'm Logan.
I'm Clyde.
And you're listening to the Nicholas Brown Podcast.
Yes.
But here's the point too, and I appreciate your time. You got to have an open mind. You got to be able to be adjustable, and it's temporary. John gave a story last 20 minutes ago that he was pretty much sound like he was just getting prepared to get out, to shift from the military to the civilian world, where he worked for the dumpster on that. But he's adjustable. He was open-minded, but he still had a plan that he was going to adjust and go to another level, or give them an option. Hey, do you have this available? If not, you didn't burn any bridges. He communicated also, because you got to communicate. And I always say, ladies and gentlemen, preparation determines your destination. Be prepared. Be prepared. So, if it's a no, think like a child, my little child, whatever. Why? Anyway, how can I help? How can I progress? But never burn bridges. Do not burn bridges. Right.
Yeah. Don't burn bridges. You got to keep as many doors open as possible.
That's
opportunities. Now, I'm not just a LinkedIn guy, right? There's their outreach on TikTok. There's outreach on Facebook, Instagram. I'm still trying to figure Instagram out, but Twitter outreach, TikTok. There's an entire at Mill Talk. Just hashtag Mill Talk. You'll see lots of things on military veterans. Facebook. There's all kind of veteran groups that you can join. There's also LinkedIn. So there's resources out there. So don't get in your own brain, in your own head. I can find many other examples of CEOs out there. Adam Driver, if you watch his TED Talks, he is Kylo Ren in Star Wars franchise. He's a famous actor. He's part of the Star Wars franchise, but he's been in other movies. But he broke his collarbone. That's why he got separated from the Marine Corps. He was riding a mountain bike, broke his collarbone in multiple places.
Okay. Former Marine. Well, he is a Marine, rather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Separated him. So
adjust.
Jimmy Stewart. He was like a Air Force brigadier general in the reserves.
Jimmy Stewart?
Yeah.
The former the rest in peace Jimmy Stewart?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. There are plenty of examples. The dude that was on Robert, he's a comedian.
It's a Wonderful Life, Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, he was a reserve. He was a reserve brigadier general.
Wow, really? Yep. Quiet as it kept, as it say. Quiet as it kept. One thing, 2 minutes. What's your perspective on the days for the military transitioning? What's your perspective? Is it getting better, worse, or what's your perspective since you've been out? How long have you been out, sir?
3 years.
3 years. What's your perspective? Is it getting better?
You got to apply. You. The same thing is happening 3 years ago. It's probably even. I would say 20 years ago, 10 years ago, the resources weren't available. When you got out, is when I talked to these older veterans like you, not meaning you, but old veterans that didn't have the same resources.
Right.
When they got out, now there are resources everywhere. For all you veterans that are angry at the VA, stop being angry at the VA. The VA didn't do anything to you. Call them. I've never had I've not had any bad experiences either going to my local clinic or calling the VA. And this isn't just health related, because I'm a service disabled veteran owned small business. You have to go to the VA to get certified. And and GSA and all these other places to get your businesses registered in SAM.gov. I've not had a bad experience. I had one weird experience, but I'll forgive the lady because I don't know what was going on with her, but
Sure.
she was having a rough day. But
So it's got better. Your perspective has gotten better.
it is better than
it's
it is better
progressing,
than what
rather.
it is better than probably what it was, like I said, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Resources. There are resources out there. I mean, I think you work with Vets to Industry with Brian Arrington and other groups and Hiring Our Heroes. There's so many resources, but here's an issue. You can get inundated and overwhelmed with information. It's just like normal information overload, being on the internet or being in anywhere. So
Right.
you you got to be able to block out the noise, right? Here's a handful of things that you need to do before you transition out. Where do you want to be? That's one. Where do you want to be? What is the future plans for you and your family or you and your loved ones? What's your 2 to 5, 10-year plan, right? Don't chase the job, chase the location. Because if you keep chasing the job, you're going to move all the time. I moved a lot. I moved my family. I don't even know how many times in the 20 years of active duty I was on, right? Like
This is what I
five,
need.
six,
You
five,
just
six
gave a
times.
topic. You just gave a topic. The top 5 ways to be prepared for transition. I'm gonna have that title. We got another
That's fine.
episode. I
Yeah,
gotta
that's
have
fine.
that episode.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
It takes more time. I
Yeah,
gotta
it
have it.
does.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you hear that? I'm gonna get him on
Yeah,
another episode.
it
That'll be
does.
a special
Transition is
episode. I want to get that out during the
Yeah,
military
transition
holidays.
is you
That's
listen,
huge, I think.
you gotta you gotta tap into your resources. You gotta tap into your local resources, the local community, your state community. Things are different. There are veteran things everywhere, every county. There's outreach. That too many people just get stuck in their own head and no one else can help you. Well, how did you get promoted? Did you get promoted in the military, or how did your spouse get ahead being the excellent spouse rep for the unit? He or she didn't do that by themselves. Like they did it through a unit. If everybody that
Matter of
follows me
fact,
and
how can it,
Nicholas,
that's the key word. No, how can they get in contact with you? Because we're about to close.
yeah,
So
you
how
can
can they get in
follow.
contact with
You can
you?
find right now. The easiest is just find me on LinkedIn. I'm
Exactly.
John King. I got a beard. I look like this. Maybe it was more crazier then. I shaved last
Okay,
night.
you
Not for
squared
this
away.
meeting, but I shaved
John
anyway.
C. It's under John C. King, ladies
King.
and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
yeah. And
John
so
C. King, because it's pretty John King. So
yeah,
it's right.
it's under John C. King
Yeah, make sure
LinkedIn, and
you
then
can search for that. You just go ahead and search in the search button, ladies and gentlemen. You'll find that. So if you're watching John C. King, if you're listening, John C. King, it's important. When you do it, try to make it a purpose because he gets a lot of DMs, like I get message or whatever. Keyword podcast interview.
yeah, podcast interview.
That'll trigger him. Oh,
Yeah, that's where you saw you from. So
okay.
it's inside of my inside of my tagline. I got a lot of things in my tagline, but one of them is I said, veteran. I don't, friends don't let friends transition alone. It's back to this. You don't have to be doing this by yourself, right? I was in my transition experience is completely different than the next person's transition experience. You know,
Wow, you
I
just hit a point, ladies and gentlemen.
I am supposed to be where I am right now in Washington D.C. My skill set fits at the national strategic level. My skill set necessarily didn't fit, say, Amazon or Walmart or XPO Logistics and all these places I applied because I didn't have the skill set to be a senior manager there. I am a senior manager where I'm supposed to be.
Gotcha. You're the fit. Yeah, right. You fit.
You gotta find your fit.
And
You
that's
gotta
your
find your fit.
passion, right? And your passion, right? And you
I mean,
that's another subject
I
too, because
am
we're
I
talking about
am
entrepreneurship too.
yeah. This for my normal
Right.
W-2, it is the Marine Corps. I'm familiar with. It's a love-hate relationship, but I'm paid handsomely well. I'm respected well, but you got to find that, and that's not going to be your first job out the gate. You may be in love with your first job out the gate, and then the first time you bring up a recommendation on how to change everything, your hiring manager or supervisor goes, "Oh no, that's not how we do it. It's time to move on because there's no growth."
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the example too, as I said before in my previous episodes. Be responsible as an individual, but work as a team. This man here can go to any job, and he's responsible to take that position because he asks questions. He'll do what it takes, just temporary, to get to the next level. whether you're a man or woman, that's the example he's saying. But he gave himself choices. He didn't give himself problems. He built the bridge. He didn't burn no bridges. He never burned bridges. So that's another episode though. But I appreciate you. We're gonna get another time.
I burnt bridges, but the bridges I burnt were not turned around.
You would expect to come back. Yeah. There's some people like, hey,
I'm not doubling back. And what I mean is not doubling back. I'm in this entrepreneur zone. So I burnt the bridges. I destroyed the ships. I destroyed my supply line. I ain't going home.
Right. Overall.
Right here.
Right.
I'm right here. But that's totally different, right? We can have a whole nother conversation on entrepreneurship and what that takes, because that is a whole different ball of wax compared to finding a W-2.
But that's another word, though. It's a small world. That's why I say don't never burn bridges. You can be touched. You can be found.
No,
don't never do it intentionally.
Yeah,
that's
but what I mean is I'm burning my bridges. Is like I'm like Tom Hanks in Survivor. I'm literally stuck on that island.
Gotcha.
Right? I'm in the entrepreneur island. I have to find my way out. I'm looking for my own Wilson right now.
Tom Hanks, I remember that movie where he got the soccer and everything. Great concept. Well, hey, John, thanks for coming on, man. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. We're gonna get another episode about transitions. I got to get.
It's all good, man. This is fun. Appreciate everybody being out there. Like I said, you can follow me on LinkedIn, John C. King. You can find my company, King Global Enterprise Solutions, on LinkedIn. Also, my Facebook page, I think, is JC King. My Twitter handle, I believe, is like JK Marketing. My Instagram handle is JK Marketing. I don't know.
We'll get it set.
Nicholas was able to find me. I don't know. He's one of the few that was able to find me outside of LinkedIn. He found me.
Hey, my MOS, I was a grunt.
Okay.
H&S, yeah. Work with the snipers and all.
He found me.
I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with that. But it was worth it. It was worth the find on that.
He found me. So it was good. It was fun. The main takeaway is the whole through transition leadership. You just got to know who you are, right? And you got to believe in yourself. You're going to get doubt, not just internally, but you're going to get doubt from those that, that love you, or, because they have their own doubts and they have their own fears, right? So you can't let that manifest upon you. You got to go with what you know the best. And please stop trying to look at somebody's chapter 35 and you're only in chapter 1, or you're just in the preamble or the preface of the book. Please stop trying to do that. Chasing that person has been doing it for 10, 15, 30, or in Warren Buffett's case, like 70 years. Don't chase that. Chase what you know.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. And there we go. There we have it.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on the show, ladies, Mr. John. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As I always end, don't condemn, don't complain, because you have a choice to make a change. Have a great day.
All right.
Thanks for joining us on the Nicholas Brown Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, www.nickbrowninc.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like this show and you are a new real estate investor, then check out one of Nicholas's free reports called the Wholesale Dominator Report, also located on our website, www.nickbrowninc.com/free reports. Be sure to tune in for our next episode. And remember, don't condemn, don't complain, because you have a choice to make a change. Have a great day.